Resident Evil Requiem. Now, I'm going to say this straight off the bat. This game is actually really good. I actually enjoyed myself with this game. Capcom actually made a really good game with this one. And you know what? I'll say it. Out of all the Resident Evil games now, this is actually my favorite one. This is a very solid game. Because what makes this game good is that everything you want in a Resident Evil game is in this game. Because when you're playing with Grace, you're getting like a Resident Evil 7, a Resident Evil Village vibes, like where the horror is there. And with Leon, you're getting all the action as well, where you're playing like a Resident Evil 2 to a Resident Evil 4 vibes, because you know how Leon is, right? So you're getting like the best aspects of Resident Evil in this game. Now, I'll get to the differences in the gameplay styles in a second, but the one thing I want to mention is that you can actually play this game in different perspectives. Because you can choose if you want to play this in first person or third person. Now, it is recommended that you play Grace's story in first person and you play Leon's in third person. Now, for me, I actually played the whole game in third person. And I do actually recommend you actually try Grace's parts in third person, because as you're going through the game, because her playstyle, she's more scared. She's new to fighting bioweapons, right? So she's very scared. And I think that the actress who plays her, who did the motion capture and the voice, actually did a very good job portraying the fear of this character, because you will see it in her body motions, the way she stutters when she talks. You see it all in this game. So I should think she did a very good job. And I do think even if you do play in third person with her, you are getting a full experience. So it is a well-made game. Even if you know what I'm saying, is that you don't have to play you don't have to play the recommended, is what I'm saying, is you can if you want. You can play hers in first person if you want. It's still solid. But also playing a third person with her is actually pretty good as well. So no matter which one you choose, you are getting a solid experience. Now, the reason why I chose to play in third person is because I prefer to play in third person when it comes to these games. But like I said, if you prefer to play in first person and where you want to see, because some players want to see, the horror through the character's eyes, you know what I mean? Like if you want to play like that, you are getting a solid experience. Like I said, when I tried it, it is pretty good. And if you want to play in third person, where you get to see the character actually being scared, it's there, because you can actually see Grace as when she's scared. Like when you're aiming with the gun, like you can actually see her shake, which is a nice touch to what they decided to do. So yeah, no matter. So what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to play the recommended. So you can actually play the whole game in third person if you want to play like that. You are getting a solid experience, as I said. So that is completely up to you how you want to play. Which also, I do have to point out one thing, which is just, a one negative thing about the perspective is that when you're doing it with Leon, if you're trying to play Leon in first person, because, he does the spinning kicks and stuff like that, it is a bit weird to play in first person with him. Like, his gameplay style does not fit first person, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's just a bit weird to play with him, but third person is a solid thing for him. That's probably the one thing that is negative. Also, the second thing that is negative is the final boss. The final boss in this game is very easy. Like you can actually destroy him. By the end of the game, you will destroy him, even on normal. Because I haven't tried hard difficulty yet, but when I was playing on normal, you can destroy him easily. So he's a very easy boss. That's the second negative. So that's the only thing I can think of. Only two negatives. So playing Leon in first person and the final boss is too easy. That's my only negative gripe with this game. Everything else is actually perfect. Now about the differences in the gameplay styles. Now with Grace, like I said, it's the emphasis is more on horror, because she's inexperienced and she is scared, and the horror is there. So with her, when you're playing with her, is that trying to get ammo is very scarce. So you have to be more stealthy with her. Also, her inventory space is actually much smaller than Leon's. So so you have to be a lot more stealthy, and you have to manage your inventory. And you do get a box at save points where you can drop some items off at a box. So yeah, so with her, you do have to go around the game being a bit way more careful than Leon. And as I mentioned before, is that when you're playing third person, like you can see the character actually being scared, the way she moves, even when she points the gun, like her hand shakes from the fear. Also, she stutters when she talks when she's scared, It's like even like the actress did a very good job betraying the fear of this character, as I mentioned before. So yeah, like it's a very well made game. Now with Leon, Leon, it's a completely different story with him. He's in his experience, and when it comes to him, he's pretty much I wouldn't say he's in God mode because you can die with Leon, but it's more like a Resident Evil 4. So you're getting a horror and action at the same time with him. So when you switch to him, you are more dominant against the zombies. Like you can take them out, you know what I'm saying? Because you are getting ammo, you got better weapons, you do more damage with Leon. You got his martial arts styles as well, so he can do he can counter him, he can protect himself that way. So you know how Leon is, he's a veteran, you know what I mean? So it does make sense for him to be like that. And I have to say is that the transitioning from Grace to Leon and then Leon to Grace, it is a smooth transition, and you do feel the differences in gameplay. And it doesn't feel out of place at all. So that's a really good thing. Also, when it comes to Leon, the way they wrote him in this game, because he is an older guy now, I think he's like 48 now, I think. Yeah, but the way they wrote him and the way his action scenes are and the way he says his lines, they made him badass in his game. He's actually a badass in his game. And I'll tell you, Leon fans are gonna love the way they wrote him in his game. They're gonna love him in his game because he's a badass in his game, as I mentioned. And yeah, they didn't character regress him at all. Like he's actually, the way he's supposed to be. So yeah, I think I've said this before in a video I've done about Resident Evil. Is that I did mention that Leon is my favorite character in the series. So yeah. They couldn't have got him more perfect in his game. Like I think the best betrayal in his game with him is this game, because like I said, he's a badass. The way they wrote him, the way he says his lines, and the way he even plays. So I think they did a really good job with Leon here as well. And also, if you guys know who Leon is, you know what I'm talking about. Now, when it comes to the story, now we're not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but it is a well-written story because you got Easter eggs in you have. The return of the T virus in this. Yes, and the T virus is in this and it has evolved. So yeah, you got that back. We also go back to Raccoon City and see like what the aftermath of after the missile strike. You're getting a lot. It's almost like it feels like kind of like a redemption arc kind of in this game. It does feel like that a little bit as you're going through like Leon's story, I mean. So yeah, it is a very well written story, I think, and the story is pretty solid. Like I said, you got Easter eggs, you have returning villains coming back, returning enemies. You have, like I said, you have a few things going on in this game. So I think the story is written pretty well for a game like this. And also, like I said at the start of the review, the horror is actually there because, as I mentioned before, now I'm not going to spoil anything when these moments come up because I want you guys to experience this yourself. But the virus has evolved to where the point to where it brings people's instincts out, to where there's this one part where there's a zombie turning off the light because he was like the one that used to turn off the lights, right? So that was his job. So his instincts are to do that. And there's other things that happen as well, which is kind of creepy. Now, the way they did this game, like I said, is kind of creepy. You know what I mean? So the horror aspect is there and it is a well-made game. And yes, this game does feel like survival horror. It really does. And in my opinion, I think it is the best Resident Evil game made so far. This is my favorite one, like I mentioned at the start of the review. And I do highly recommend you guys, if you like survival horror, go out and buy this. If you're a Resident Evil fan, this is a must buy. I do really say that, and I do recommend this game because it is that good. And look, I don't do this in my review usually, but if I were to give a rating to this game out of 10, this is 100% a 10 out of 10 game. And usually I do not give 10 out of 10 like that perfect to a game like this. I've never done that because the game with survival horror, I always say it's around a 7 or an 8 around there because that's how I feel about them, because there's always something that's negative. But this game, no, I think this game is actually perfect. This deserves a 10 out of 10 for me. Now, I don't really, like I said, I don't really usually give ratings, but that's really what I think about this game. It is a perfect game. I had a very fun time playing this game. And yes, like I will be replaying the game as well. So, yeah, because that's how much I liked it. Anyway, I rambled on long enough. So yeah, I do highly recommend you go out and buy this game. If you're a survival horror, if you like survival horror games, you're definitely going to love this. And of course, if you're a Resident Evil fan, This is a must buy. You have to go out and buy this game. It is literally that good. Oh, and also, I'm hearing that this game is doing very well on sales because it is selling out and it's doing very well. And Capcom have announced that they are doing a story expansion, which I cannot wait to get into when it comes out. Anyway, that's enough from me. Like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. And yeah, thank you for watching. Resident Evil Requiem.